Hey everyone, this is Joel Kleber from Gyms, and I'm out on the day on the road with Matt Thorpe, who's the local Gyms Mowing franchisee. And we're out in Cheltenham here, and we're at his first job. It's around 9 a.m, so we appreciate you doing this, Matt.
No
Just
worries.
a little quick intro. You're telling me before about what did you do prior to starting Gyms Mowing franchise business?
All right, well, my business is Gyms Mowing Hampton Bayside, and I bought that in August last year, so I've been doing it just over a little 12 months. And in that time, I've built up to a client base of just over 90. Prior to doing that, I was a policeman for 19 years. Prior to being a policeman, I did 12 months labouring as a landscaper, and had the opportunity then to go into become an apprentice landscaper. But at that stage, I was geared towards being a copper. But yeah, as I say, after 19 years, and on days like this, you just don't look back.
So how many regular clients do you roughly have in your round?
Around 90.
Around 90 at the moment?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Is it just you doing it at the moment, or?
Yeah, yep. I do have a couple of part-timers that I can call on when the period gets busy, such as we're about to enter into in the spring, summer. But for the most part, it's just myself. And
can you tell everyone for home watching, maybe just what's an average day look for you? I know we're starting a bit later today, but what does an average day normally look for you?
It just depends on if I want to have a sleep in, but realistically, I'm usually on the road at my first job by about 8 in the morning, and I will map out the day as to the best and most economical way of servicing the clients, rather than going from, say, Cheltenham to Balaclava, where I've got a couple of clients out there. I'll just work it in as to the best way and the most economical way I can just get from A to B. And I'll just go from job to job to job, and usually finish up, depending on the day, around 4:30, 5 o'clock.
And overall, how are you just enjoying it? How are you enjoying the change?
I love it, love it. I love getting in the car, just knowing that whilst I am a people person, I think there's a lot to be said to just being out in your own space and just enjoying your own time.
Do you want to get into your first job?
First job, yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
cool.
no worries. So we're just going to do a nature strip here. I've got Des here working with me.
Yeah, Des is the regional franchisor. We didn't want to be on camera, but he's on there now, so that's all right.
I do the body corporate nature strip. I also do, but we're not doing today, but I do this property here. This is Irene's front lawn.
Yep. Now, can you name every customer? Do you know their first name, every one of them?
100%, yeah. I think it's really important that you've got a personal contact
Yep.
and relationship with those customers. And I maintain this body corporate, so all the hedging and pruning along here. Not doing any of this today. This is on a,
But you would do this sometimes.
So I do this on a quarterly schedule.
Basis.
Yeah.
Yep. So you come back here quite regularly during the year.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So they're done probably every 2 months.
Yep.
Here's every 3 months. Irene's back there. She's every 21 days, and this is every 28 days. Just the nature strips out the front. I herbicide the garden, and then just blow out the car park.
Great. So what are we doing today? What are you doing today?
We're doing that. So
okay, cool.
What do you want to do, Des?
You're the boss.
I'm the boss, am I?
You want me to do that?
All right. I can tell you now that they one thing Des taught me, and they teach you on the 6-day course, is edges first.
Yep.
Then mow, then you clean up, then you blow off your.
So edges first, right?
Yeah, edges first.
If you've got a bit of leaf matter, or if it's a bit messy, you'll do a blow before you mow, so you can vacuum it up. But it's just efficient to do your edges and then mow, then a blow. It's an efficient process. It looks terrific.
No idea. So how'd you find driving? I know it's a silly question, but how'd you find driving the trailer? Because a lot of people don't do it.
It's not a silly question because, as I was saying earlier, a lot of the guys that I spoke to prior to buying a business, one of the guys said, I don't do jobs in courts because I'm not comfortable to drive down a dead-end street.
Wow.
And then try and get out with a trailer. So that can, to some extent, limit your business.
Yeah.
So there were times early on where I got myself in bits of pickle that you'd sit there and frustrated about how I'm going to get out of a tight squeeze. But in the end, I'm comfortable enough to be able to reverse this down a street, do a 3-point turn, reverse in and out, go into courts, no problems.
Just a bit of practice and experience and
it's just, I mean, look, you've got to have a little bit of confidence about you, but at the same time, you just got to have a bit of patience and
Yep.
and take care. So my toolbox is
Something just fill out there.
got to be careful of
Yeah.
tools. So I carry pretty much everything that I think I might need for a day.
Yep.
And even if I don't, I've got it there just in case there's the odd, oh, can you quickly do this for me? Last thing you want to do is get to a job, get asked for that little bit of extra work, and then go, I actually don't have that with me. I'm going to have to come back, which that client might turn around and go, look, don't worry about it.
Yep.
You might have done yourself out of a few extra dollars, or you put yourself under pressure to try and get it done later on in the week. So I just carry my hedge trimmer, my pole extension, which comes with my pole saw and the extended hedge trimmer. I've got my blower and snipper. I do have a second snipper for when the weather gets warmer, and I've got that extra guy working with me, which will sit here across the top. I tend not to. I was carrying the snipper on top from job to job, but in the end I've just found it doesn't save that much time to take it out of here.
Yep.
What I do at the very end of my first job is my blower that will sit in the mower cage on top of my mower.
Yep.
So when I pull out the mower, there's the blower, and then I just get the snipper from there.
Great.
I've got a toolbox with a handy set of little tools, Allen keys, pliers, hammer, just things you might need to help you tighten up your tools or at a little job.
Yep.
Little pruning saw, secateurs, gloves, mower bags, and just some garden tools, loppers, shears. Oh, excuse me. No, it's my old man. We won't worry about that. We'll let that go through the keeper.
Yep.
And yeah, just clean out the gutters, gutter little tools.
So a little bit of everything
some
there.
Hand tools, yeah.
So how'd you go about selecting the gear? I knew you, I think you said you bought did you buy a splitter or was it a resale? Did you buy
I bought a resale.
resale?
Yep.
So with
Yep.
did it come with a bit of gear or you have to?
He had some equipment which I did buy second hand. So
Yep.
I bought a snipper from him.
Right.
And I bought a backpack blower. The multi-tool is his.
Yep.
So the pole saw and the extended hedge trimmer. I bought a brand new snipper. This hedge trimmer here, that was bought brand new.
Yep.
The mower was new. So how'd I go about selecting them? I got a lot of advice from my franchisor, Des.
Yep.
For a commercial style business, you know, you're not your home handyman. So you go to your mower store, and it wasn't so much that Bunnings don't sell great equipment. It was go and start having that early relationship with your mower guy.
Yep.
Buy from them.
They're real specialists, right?
Yeah, buy from them because they will look after you. It's their equipment that they've sold you. They'll look after you that little bit more when you come back.
Okay, great.
So I've got the Honda self-propelled mower. Another key piece of advice was get yourself a self-propelled mower.
Right.
Uh,
Now, what's the difference? What's the different types? I've got no idea. So, what's the different types?
well,
Self-propelled?
so self-propelled.
Yep.
This will, once engaged, take off.
Right.
As long as you've got that engaged.
And self-propelled's not. You have to push.
No,
it
so
in.
it's not a push mower.
Oh, okay, I get you.
But pros and cons, which I've since learned, it is heavier. So some guys who don't run a trailer and might just run out of the back of the ute,
Yep.
invariably won't have a self-propel because the deck is a lot harder, heavier, the engine's a lot heavier, and that lifting just doesn't happen. For me, no problems because I'm on the mower ramp and into the cage. But yeah, so that's my schedule. And then I've just got a few cheat notes that I keep with myself.
Oh, awesome.
So I've got some mowing notes, some work tips. These are all things that I've learnt over the 18 months, mostly on that 6-day course and then networking. A few little informations about the herbicides, pesticides, the weed chart. And I just sort of, what I will do now, having just completed the course, I'll look to expand to a little folder and then have that carry on with me.
Just talking a bit about the edging process you go through.
Yeah, look, I know that some blokes will just try and hurry it along because the quicker you get the edging done, the next you're on the mower, then the blower, and your job's done. I always think, just as Dad said, it's a really important thing. Even if it's just somebody coming down the street, always know when a lawn's just been mowed. You don't always know if the edges have been done, if it's been a bad job. So, look, that's not a bad edge. There is a little bit of crookedness there, but it's all about going, oh, yeah, the edges are done, the lawn's been done, looks really good. So if you look at that versus that,
Yeah, it's a massive difference. Yeah.
And even as I said to Des, I do just this little bit here because, okay, that's the neighbour's front. But if you're the client coming home, and if you had this overgrown on this part of your driveway, it's not a good look.
But even though it's not, as you said, even though it's not really your responsibility, you still do it anyway.
Just go that little bit extra.
Yeah. So let's say here, Matt, obviously you come here, you do a great job here. So early on, obviously, if you're building up around again, obviously you bought one. What about the marketing sort of techniques you would use maybe in this area?
Okay, so I would talk about maintaining their hedges. So it was actually my idea about a quarterly service for this property. They did say to me, how often do you think it would need doing? The very first time I quoted it, I knew that the very first time I was doing it, I would lose money on that particular day because of the time it was going to take. So what you see now isn't necessarily what it was like the very first time. So I factored that into my quoting process. I said, okay, it's going to take me a lot longer the first time, but moving forward, it's not going to take me as long, and therefore that's where you make up your coin. So things like I've already spoken to them about is replacing the mulch in this particular property, probably in another 12 months, and they're aware of that.
But you're proactive with this, aren't you, with the customer?
Oh yeah. I mean,
you're not sitting back waiting. You're the one going, we can do this. I can do this for you.
Yep.
At training, when I do the Hort, I do a little feature on trailer safety and security.
Yep.
And I get people to give trailer stories, who's had an incident with a trailer. And the hands go up and we have a talk about that. And I say to the guys, well, look, pay attention because chances are about a third of you are going to have an incident with your trailer, and probably in the first 3 months because everything's so new. So everyone's got this terrific information going out with the mindset: safety first, quality of your work, and relationship with your customer. So Matt set a record. I'll let you.
Was it a record? I've only got your word on that, Des. But I was just saying as we were packing up, I said to Joel, I learnt the hard way, but make sure these are locked down and your mower cage is secure because, as Des said, invariably you'll drive off and leave the ramp down and rip it off its hinges. Now, I didn't do that per se. So I was in my first month. I had a loan trailer from Bayswater and I was parked outside a property in Hampton, and it was a very narrow street and there was a car parked on the other side, and it was bin day and the Garbo was coming through the street, and I thought, I'll do the right thing. I'll move for him. First and only ever time I'll move for a Garbo, especially if I'm legally parked, or for anybody for that matter. So the ramp was down, I put it up, and it wasn't a system that was like this. It was an old side pin system, and I'm not sure what happened, but clearly it wasn't pinned in. So I drove off, and I was doing a large blocky. So I drove up, turn right, no worries, turn right again. Next thing I hear all this almighty bang. I was like, shit, what is that? And I look, then I can see in the side mirror, there's the ramp down the street. Two things I was very lucky about. One is that it was just the ramp and didn't hit a parked car. It could have easily landed on a parked car. So for a $150 fix, it could have been a lot more expensive. And two, it didn't hit anybody else. So I picked it up, threw it in my mower cage and finished the job, and then went to a local trailer fix and did it for $150. But yeah, I
think everyone's had a little bit of an incident. I know these ones here is always when they leave them up.
Yeah,
or they leave them up in a jar and they hit stuff. And
touch wood, the only thing that's happened with this is it flew open recently, but that was because it was a loose bolt at the end. Since had that repaired, and that they've lock nucked that tight, so that shouldn't happen again.
The mower cage ramp, there you go, make sure it's always locked up.
Oh yeah. But it's just taking that extra 5-10 seconds at the end of a job to know that you've got those locked in and down, because the last thing you want to do is spend a day knowing that you've just cost yourself money or you've hurt somebody, and it just, the rest of your day you're not concentrating on what you should be, which is getting the job done and going home safely to your family.
Yeah.
Just make yourself some room, boys. There's nothing in there that you don't have to worry about.
So you're saying obviously I didn't ask you before, but you got a family, so do you have a wife and how many kids do you have?
Yeah, so married, 2 kids.
Yep. How old are your kids?
His boy's 11. Sorry, no, he's 12.
Yep.
12. And daughter is 9.
And they're right into their sports?
Yeah, so my son plays footy and cricket.
Yep.
Just lost the semi-final, so not going in the granny.
No good.
My daughter's just started netball.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
But when you were doing your previous job, were you able to do as much stuff with them as you were able to do now? Or?
When I got to the rank of sergeant, most of the sergeants have got families, and you're all fighting for school holidays off. You know, so you just don't get that time. There's not much flexibility as a copper, believe it or not.
So what do you do now in terms of your average week? Are you doing 4, 5, 6?
No, I'll do 5 days a week.
Yep.
Won't work weekends. I've only done 2 Saturdays, and they were half-day turfing jobs to get it done for the client. And I didn't mind because it was, one, they were both pretty profitable, and 2, they were learning jobs. So I did them with people that who had full-time jobs, but as gardeners, so they could only work on a Saturday. So now I take my weekends off, and it's just so much better. You know, I coached my kid in junior cricket.
Oh, great.
So although this year I've told him I won't be, because he's been a little shit about it. But, no, it's more that, believe it or not, no, you would know, but it's just so busy in spring, summer that trying to get to cricket training on a midweek, I'd rather spend the extra couple of hours working.
Yeah. How flat out? Everyone obviously thinks they can get a Jim's mowing guy in spring, but obviously, as we know, it's very, very impossible. So how flat out are you actually in spring?
So I was surprised to see. Now I didn't have my leads on in spring.
Yep.
Because it was my first spring summer, and as I said, I just wanted to know what my capability was, where I was, and I had enough clients anyway. But even when you don't have your leads on, you still get messages about unserviced leads, just in case. And I was surprised to see how many unserviced leads were coming through in relation to people just not being able to get a gym.
So if they want to get someone for spring, are they best to sort of maybe engage that person in sort of winterish, the end of winter? Or
The best thing they can do is to try and just make contact now.
Yep.
Even if it's getting them to do a job, a mow, that they don't really need done straight away, but just saying, all right, I'll pay you for a mow now, and then I've got you as potentially
my guy for
regular.
spring.
Yeah. Because look, there are those guys that do take leads in spring, and I will be one of those this spring, summer. I plan to keep my leads on. And
that's because you want to expand your business?
Yeah,
or?
Yep. I do. I want to expand my business. I know my capabilities now. I know where I'm at, and I also have got that additional help if I need it, and I'm sure I will need it.
What's your vision for the business, like in terms of, do you want to have like a little crew with you, or do you want to have a second trail on the road, or what do you want to do?
I'd like to get a customer base of around the 150 to 175 mark.
Wow.
I think you'll find the guys that are keen on growing their business are the ones taking leads and the ones ringing those leads back within 30 minutes, if not sooner. Because it's key. It doesn't give that person the opportunity then to go elsewhere.
So were you a bit of a green thumb before you wanted to do something else?
Green thumb in my own garden, yeah.
Yep.
And as I said, I did 12 months as a landscape labourer.
Yes.
So yeah, always loved getting out in the garden. But now I'm sort of one of those people that I really like to know my job. So I like to learn the intricacies of it. Hence why I did Cert 2. And I just want to build up my knowledge about plants, all that sort of, thing that comes with gardening. So I do this. This is my territory here.
Yep.
So I do this property here on my right, plus the one next to it and the one next to that.
Yep.
Down that street. That's a Wednesday job, so that's a tomorrow job. I've got 5 properties down that street in Smith Street. So talk about, building up your area so it's so close, so you less time in the car.
Yeah, so as we were talking about, you really did in the early days, you put a few off and tried to put them to other gyms and get them looked after and get clients about you a lot more in your area. And
yeah, that's right.
Yep.
That's right. Used to do this property here. They've just started doing it themselves now.
Yep.
And you find that people, for whatever reason, be it financial, retirement, what have you, they wanted more time. They start doing their own lawns. I've got, how many have I got down Earlsville? 2 down there. Got a few down this street, but coming up here they're actually renovating, which has been a slight pain in the arse to try and get it parked. But so I do 1.
Yep.
Don't do them. I do here 2, and this is the place I do 3.
Oh wow.
And I do 4.
So you got so many clients in this area, this little patch you were just driven through.
Yeah, and I do them all on the one day.
Oh wow, really? Wow.
Yeah, so it's easy to go 1, 2, 3, 4.
So I think you're telling me, if obviously there's few less jobs today, but you do like, you say you could do up to 15, 17 a day?
Yep. So the most jobs I've done in a day, and this was with help,
Yep.
was 28.
Oh, 28?
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
Yep. And that was, what had happened was I took 2 weeks off over Christmas, and that was doing everybody leading into Christmas, and then when I got back, and I had 2 blokes working with me, and yeah, we did 28 jobs in a day. I think it was about 70 in a week.
Gee whiz.
So I probably could have parked closer.
Yep.
But the thing with this street is that once you get past there, there's no parking around the corner.
Right.
So then you just finding,
Lovely home here as well in
yeah,
Hanson.
so this is David's property. So
How long have David been a client for you?
since I bought the business, so
Oh, 18 months?
Yeah,
Yep, great.
he's great. So he actually, whilst his lawn isn't fantastic, when I took over it, there was nothing there. So I've actually helped
Grow it back a bit?
grow. Yeah, there are quite a few weeds, but I am going to weed spray this next week.
Yep.
So 7 days after a mow, Des. So going to do that next week. But it's a lot better than when
what it was.
when I took over
Yeah.
it. The only thing with this property is that when I took over it, there was a massive build up here of, you can see the unevenness of the nature.
Yep.
So there was just a pile of mulch that the council had just tipped on. So it's quite grass, so it's starting to grow over, but I'm just scalping the hell out of it now and then, so it starts to push it down a
So
bit.
what does scalping mean, sorry, for people watching?
So dropping the mower to try and take the top of the grass off.
Right.
It'll never get even because it'll have to be dug out, but it's a lot better now to mow than it was, 12 months ago.
Now watching before, we got a slow motion of you doing the edges. Any tips for people who want to get those nice straight edges at home watching?
Yeah,
Right.
So this is a straight shaft snipper, so I think you snip like that, don't you, Des? No?
That's my preferred way of not to snip.
Ah!
So which way do you snip then,
Well,
Matt? You show us which way you snip.
I snip like this.
Right. Yep.
I snip that way.
Yep.
And I know it can be construed as a potential OH&S, but I also like to get on the road and snip the other way. So, but some guy, like, for example, a car parked here, I won't. I'll snip away, but I actually find that I just like then snipping. It's more economical for me just to go do a circle.
Yep.
So, and hedge that way. Snip that way. I will, in my first 12 months, I spend a bit of time trying to get edges back in line with the gutter. And they do sometimes take that extra 20 minutes, but then for the next, however long you've got that client, it's so much quicker than just to have that line in with the gutter.
Or that you've already done, right? So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just do it once and then
Yep.
so it makes
Then
it
it's
easier
done.
for you moving forward.
And another guy on the course did the same thing.
Yep.
And like they said before, you've got that, the person comes home and go, geez, mate, edges are looking good.
So there's another way, yeah, you hold it up there. I've never seen that.
No, well, it's
Yep.
inefficient because
Yep.
don't need to, Matt can do this for you on camera.
Yep.
There's 2 ways to do it. Doing it around against walls or against obstacles, so it's
Yep.
horizontal, or you're doing it. But the important thing is that you can swap between processes really, really quickly.
Yep.
If you're doing this, you're going to go deaf really quickly.
Oh, you're right next to your
And
head.
the difference between this and that, you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
this extra time. So it's really simple, and you get it really, really fast at it.
Yep.
Got So I was just saying that's a 3-week mow, so every 21 days.
Yep.
And he'll go to 2 weeks as of today.
Okay.
So I'll just
And you
email-
tell the client that and they know that
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
all
yeah,
prepared
yep.
for that. Yep.
Majority of them are already prepped on that based on previous, like the previous business owner. My new clients, I tell them, spring, summer, 2 weekly. Majority of that lawn is weed,
Yeah.
but it still looks good.
Now look,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that little quick job then looks great for when we rocked up. So for weeds getting out of control, what were you generally using it?
What do I use on it? Well, it depends what sort of lawn it is. I use Camber M on all lawns except Buffalo, and then
Yep.
Buffalo I use Buffalo Pro. But I'm going to go to I think Javelin Des or something like that. Yeah, yeah.
It's cheaper than Javelin. There's an example of someone who doesn't know how to prune roses.
I did that job there. No.
No, you didn't, Matt. No, you didn't.
Are you doing a pruning at all?
No, but I'll show you, and I'll be interested to see what Des's keen eye and experience says on the job that I did do.
Okay, that'd be good. That'd be good, actually. We get a bit of a critique. That'd be good.
Yeah,
That'd be interesting.
Rate my life.
Yeah, rate my rate my pruning. Rate my pruning.
No,
Yeah.
I'd be happy for some. So see with the Jim's jobs, this is what I do. I then tick, and I'll just write invoice, and then I'll circle that and go to 14 days now, and then I'll go home and reschedule that.
This is how most of the blokes work. They have a run sheet there. Obviously, run down there. You've ticked. You've marked there. So do you?
So we just did David's place.
Yep.
So I tick that. I write invoice, so I know when I get home to invoice him. And I've got 21 days, and I'm just going to change that to 14 days.
And what do you use to do an invoice?
0.
You use 0. Right.
Yeah. So I invoice on the day I do the job. Some blokes will invoice twice a week.
Okay.
Some blokes will do it once a week.
But you do it on the day you do it.
I do it.
Okay.
Yeah, because 2 reasons. 1, you can forget, and 2, you want that money coming in as quick as you can.
Yeah. And what about the horticultural certificate? So you're qualified. You got the Cert 2 in horticulture, and I think you can do a Cert 3. Can you do a
Cert 3,
Yep.
Cert 4 I think is when you sort of get up into the more management level style,
Right.
or the teaching style.
So what does that course actually teach you? And tell us a little bit about that.
So the Cert 2 gives you some plant knowledge, so plant identification. I think there was about 30 plants that we had to identify, the common name, the Latin name, and the family that it comes from.
So when you rock up to a job, you look at the garden, you know everything, or you could name everything pretty much, most of the items that are there.
Well, some of the plants that we identified, none of my clients have got, but yeah, there were a large amount of plants that I didn't know that I do now know what they're called, which then allows me to research what their best growing conditions are, when they're best fertilised, when they're best pruned, if they need to be pruned. Are they in their optimal spot of planting, those sort of things.
That's great. So that's something like a bit of knowledge you can go to the client and really demonstrate it and sort of help.
Yeah, 100%. Also, I think there was some irrigation, turfing, retaining walls. So things that you just would never think you might do. Turfing, absolutely. I was lucky enough to do my own garden, so I knew a little bit about turf. But there are guys on the course, and even for me to some extent, with retaining walls, that you'd walk away going, okay, I might have a crack at that, whether it's in my home garden or whether it's at somebody's place. I wouldn't have felt comfortable about that, but now I've got that.
How long did it take you to roughly complete?
The course?
Yeah.
We'll start in April, so it's at April, May, June, July, August, so 4.5, 5 months.
Yeah. Was that like a night a week or?
Yeah, so it was a Monday night per week, and then it was 6 Saturday sessions as well.
Okay.
So, and you also walked away with your what's known as your CHEM certificate, so your Australian Chemical Certificate, and that just allows you the proper storage, use, and of chemicals.
Now, do you think that'll allow you to build a bigger business, having that knowledge to do?
Yeah, so saying earlier how I've got a LinkedIn page, so now I'll add that certificate to my qualification, so Certificate 2 in horticulture. I plan to do the Cert 3, whether it be next year or the year after, and build up again. And yeah, I think so. I think that for the most part, people are just happy if you look after their lawn and garden, but there are those that will, what qualifications do you have?
Now, do you get the common, because obviously a lot of people, they just think, Jim's mowing, whatever, and you have some people who might come and just buy a franchise and just say, I'm just going to do lawns and just punch out lawns in a day. Obviously you're gardeners. Most of our blokes are gardeners. So what does being a gardener sort of mean or encompass for you?
Look, as people get older in life, or they really like their garden being looked after and maintained, but they also are busier as well, so they don't want to have to do it. So you've got to understand that, we mow lawns, but we do so much more than that. And you're right, we are gardeners, and people take pride in their garden. They want to be able to show it off, especially in days like today, and especially in the months that we're coming up to. So if you can show people that you are a gardener, and by that, looking after their plants when they need to be looked after, so pruning their plants at the right time of the year and in the right method, looking after their roses, making sure that they've got those roses bigger and better each season, keeping it clean and weed free, pest and disease free on their plants, offering advice as to what should be planted where and when, and you know, if they're going.
Even the location, right, makes a difference.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know, oh, I've got an area here, what would you recommend? Having that confidence to be able to say, look, I would recommend these actually. They're a good plant, they're hardy, they grow a good flower, they're colourful, whatever the case might be. But to be able to offer that advice does wonders for a client, and does wonders for your business, because you know you're going to make money out of that. You're going to go and source the plants, you're going to buy the plants, plant them, and you're going to bill them accordingly. You know, so, but you know, if you do a good job, people are happy to pay.
There's so much more detail than what I think people just assume, which is just, you know, rock up to a, you know, let's say mowing an edge and that's it or whatever. But as you said, there's so much more.
Well, people ask me what I do for a living. I say I'm a gardener, or now I'm a qualified, you know,
Horticulturalist.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, oh right, okay. And then they might be surprised that you rock up wearing your gym's high vis and your trailer.
Yeah.
But they, at the same time, they just look at it and go, geez, done a fantastic job here. I gauged a client, I got a client because I do their neighbour's yard, and she asked me, she said, why do you think these aren't growing, these trees here? And I said, you know, the first thing I would do, I would look at your soil. I would take a sample of soil. I could have done it for her, but I actually suggested that, you know, take a sample of soil down to the nursery, get them to test the pH, and see what they say. A week later, I was back mowing the other person's property, and she said, look, you know, I did that, and they told me it was this. She goes, I want you to maintain my garden now.
Wow.
She said, we've had so many people just fill us full of shit and just try and, you know, spin us a yarn, but you suggested this. It turned out to be the reason, and you know, and it was on the back of the horticulture course. It was a few weeks before that we'd been talking about soil pH levels.
I know we've got a tagline saying more than just mowing, but it really is, isn't it?
Oh,
It's
100%.
total garden, total solution.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? Don't try and tell them something that you don't know. If you don't know, well, this is interesting. What's happened to you?
Person's going completely the wrong way.
They've either gone the wrong way or they've had an
So
accident.
for those who can't see, there's a car which is going down the wrong way. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's just got himself maybe a bit mixed
So
up.
these are one of the pitfalls of working in Brighton. People who think,
Was he on the phone at the same time?
I don't know what he's doing.
He's got something in his hand. Yeah, I think he's yeah.
So let's just say he's elderly and he's come around the roundabout the wrong way, and
It might be in a bit of strife here. Oh, I think his engine's something's conked out. You right, mate? You okay? Yeah. Oh, you're going to do it here. I was just going to jump start it. Yeah. He's just going to jump start it off that car. We've been holding you up too
look,
long.
here he is. I was just about to ring you. we're in Boxall Street in Brighton. BOX.
So for those who are watching internationally, this is Brighton, Australia, Victoria, in Melbourne. And Brighton is one of the more affluent suburbs. It's a beautiful suburb though. So Matt's clients are in this area here. He's got 3 jobs he's going to do right now, which is a great little. He's got 1, 2, 3 in a row, which is awesome. So
we're at number 2, so be down the end near St Andrews. Okay, cheers, Des. Bye. I do her hedges here, the viburnum.
Oh, beautiful. Yep.
And down here. So this is body corporate.
It's another body corporate job. Yep.
Yep. So I do all these as well.
Oh, wait, all these ones up here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So they're creeping in from next door, so I'll have to then suggest doing them again pretty soon.
This is where your gardening knowledge really comes in with the different types
Yeah.
here, right?
And what I'm going to suggest is, see all this? So I'd suggest weed spraying all this stonework, and I'll do that. I'll take a note after we finish here, and I'll email the girl that I deal with and say, right, about time we look at weed spraying all your stonework. I may as well start on the snipper anyway. cracking day, isn't it?
It's turned out bloody...
If you boys want to stop for lunch or anything, just tell me.
No, we'll just work around you, mate. You do whatever you need to do normally, mate. I know
usually
you're holding up a bit, so you do whatever you want to do. I was just going to say, though, we didn't talk about it before, but how do you find the concept? Because the one thing I always see online, because obviously I do all the social media stuff, is, you know, why pay fees or why make gym richer or blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? So how do you find that concept of paying? Obviously, you pay a monthly fee and there's lead fees and stuff like that. So how do you find that?
Well, the first thing is you know that going in. So if you're not prepared to accept it, then I don't see why you'd bother going. One of the questions I got was, you know, surely you're a good networker, Matt. You could start off on your own. There is no way in hell that I would have been as successful as I have been to date without the support of the gyms network. There's no way. And that comes down to everything from knowing how to price, quote, actually mow, believe it or not, and equipment. There's no way I would have been able to go out and buy a mower, a trailer, and be an independent mower without that support. And that's what you pay for, as far as I'm concerned, as well as the brand. I mean, as I said, spring, summer, how many people are ringing gyms this spring, summer versus the independent bloke with the working out of the back of the dodgy ute?
Yeah, that's true, and we know that just because of the unserviced leads. But do you think that helps you with, obviously, we talked a little bit before about like with real estate agents and commercial clients to have that extra trust there for the brand if something happens?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I do 5 properties in this street.
5?
Yeah.
Wow.
Depending on the season, but
yeah,
5 usually. So Joe's just around the corner, but as I said, it's a dead-end street.
So in the Heritage Precinct in Brighton.
Yeah.
So for those internationally watching, this is a very nice area in Melbourne, Australia.
Now, where's that no standing sign just there? What I say about reverse me trailer?
You're doing well, mate. I could not do it.
You'd like to think Des will tell me to stop if I'm going to bump into that Merc.
Yeah, he's there.
I think we're right.
Should be fine.
So I'll walk you up a couple of jobs I did because I like Des's feedback on it.
Beautiful.
You know that story I was telling you about the lady whose pH soil I suggested?
Yep.
This is her. This is Vicky.
Sounds like a really knowledgeable customer as well.
So I did all this, Des.
Yeah.
So there are some weeds coming through, but I do hand weed. She won't mind us coming in.
Nice.
So this is all the dichondra. It's
Lovely.
starting to spread.
Oh, this is going to be beautiful.
So what's happened here, Matt? Can you talk about what you've done here?
So this lady had an existing dichondra lawn, but it got so infested with weeds that we dug it up. She had new irrigation put in. We put in new soil and planted 320 dichondra between here and here. And eventually the plan is that it'll all grow over and become another lawn. But as you can see, it is getting a few weeds through it, but I'm here every so often just hand pulling the weeds.
How long will that take to sort of come through?
It should be, I'd like to think that with the spring, it should be in the next sort of, say 4 months, Des, do you reckon?
Yeah, spring, summer. It
Yeah.
will go mad.
Yeah. And I do this one over here.
That's a nice clutch.
So when I say I do it, they have only just had the back renovated, but I've just submitted a quote, Des, with Starthy, landscape the whole front yard.
Oh, good. So this is more networking. Starty's good landscaping.
Yeah.
Right.
So the quote here originally was just to clean out. That's all builder's rubble. They originally had said leave it there because we're going to get it re-landscaped. They paid the landscape company out the back, weren't happy with them, came to me after they saw what I did out here.
There's some nice bluestone crazy pavers.
Yeah, so the quote was originally to clean up, rip out some of the old, put in some garden edging, dig out the rubble and make a path just to the door. I've now talked them into ripping out everything, putting in the edging, still levelling it out that area, and edging along here, pruning the roses.
Total garden solution.
Yeah,
mate.
yeah.
All the
So I've
work.
got a sample of the edging in my, which I've got to drop off, but they're not home, but I might leave it on their doorstep before we leave. It's, I've forgotten the brand of it, but Form Boss. I'll show you the stuff, Des, before we go. But so all edging, steel. And what it does is,
it rusts.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a lovely product. It's great to work with.
Yeah.
Too. It's beautiful.
So
product.
they sent me
It's not
a,
expensive.
But anyone's listening to that, then you can hear the boys riffing on their knowledge, all right? That's all the horticultural stuff. So more than just mowing, they're all gardeners, total solution, every one of our guys.
So this is what we do here, this one, Des. But because it's so uneven, I usually cut it high just to avoid the scalp.
What, you're talking 6?
Yeah, you probably, yeah, and that one. But here are the roses, Des. I don't know if you want to have a look at them.
Are these the ones you were talking about before?
Yep.
To get them to critique it?
These are the ones.
Oh, here we go, Des.
These are the ones I did not long ago. Plus I do her lavender, but when she asks. So be honest, Des.
Yeah, okay. Well, the principles of standard rose pruning. First, what we're trying to achieve is a vase shape to get air into the centre of it. Then we're trying to cut out any dead or unhealthy growth. Then we're going to cut to a healthy outside bud. So let's start with a healthy outside bud, so that's promoting outward growth. Those cuts are at a good height above the bud, and that you can see that's pushing the new buds are coming out. So that's what we want. So we're going to get that vase achieved. The vase, air circulation, we could have potentially have gone a little harder.
Yep.
But that's being nitpicky. You can get dieback, and there's a little bit of dieback happening here. That will die at some stage. That could go, and there's a bud coming out down here which will come out. No, look, Matt, that's a pretty good. Again, this is ultra critical. I'd take that one because it's inward growing.
Yep.
But apart from that, you've cut to beautiful, healthy outside buds, and in a month or two, we're going to have fantastic blooms. It's going to look marvellous. This is where your knowledge, your expertise, you can be an absolute hero because you get results so quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like you're fertilising or herbiciding.
So I sprayed them with lime sulphur.
Lime sulphur.
And they've all been fed as well.
Preventing disease, the lime sulphur spray, a lot of people don't do that. Do you clean your secateurs between some, not critical?
No, I don't, but I should. I've got metho in there to do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So score out of 10, Des. What's the score out of 10 then?
I'd have to give him a good 8.5.
That's good.
That's all right, I'm happy
Oh,
with that.
It's good for him.
very good, very good work.
Yeah.
Anyone would be happy with that to be done on their property.
Yeah, so as I said, as Des said, hopefully it comes back.
Was it,
Oh, no, that was beautiful.
was this post your course, or was this during your horticultural course?
Post-course. Oh, sorry, well, during.
During while you're doing it. So you're
During.
able to apply what you're learning in there and take it out to a job straight away.
Yep.
Very satisfying to do these and come back shortly to see them.
And I do a lavender as well.
Looks great.
Lovely.
Yeah, it looks really nice. I know what that one is, don't worry about that. Yeah.
But what I did learn, Des, is that lavender's only got a lifespan of around 5 years.
Yeah, very short-lived.
Yeah.
It's very leafy, very bushy,
Yeah.
very ugly.
You can
Only
sort of
5
see
years?
It
underneath.
doesn't last long.
Yeah.
Right, so what happens after the 5 years? What happens then?
Take them out and start again.
Literally
Yeah.
take them out and plant new ones.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Here he's got the ficus. This ficus grows rapidly. And you can see it's starting to grow up the trees now, so it needs to be kept back, low, and off the trees. It's constant work. The dietes needs to be deadheaded periodically, leaves taken out. Yeah, there's constant work.
Just so much gardening knowledge you're just saying to me now, which I don't know nothing about, which is great to hear from you because you're the expert on it.
I'm not an expert. It's just experience.
Yeah.
He's a good teacher. Yeah, there's so much to learn. But the more you know, the more valuable you are, the more helpful you are.
What value can you add to that customer's garden, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
And if that's your mindset, it's wonderful.
So how many different things can you see here now? Can you just point out a spot for us?
What we could do at the moment?
Yeah.
Well, that ficus,
Yep.
definitely it's about to start another growth period.
Right.
So I'd be getting that under control, taking it right back,
Yep.
taking it to the top of the trellis, take it out of the trees. The dietes, it's had its flowers from last season. All these need to be deadheaded. Well, that's new growth, but that's old growth.
Yep.
You could certainly do with a bit of a trim back here and tidy that up. You could box that up, square that up.
Yep.
The leaf mat, I'm in two minds about that. It's a good mulch. It depends on what the customer wants. I see there's also been tan bark put down here as a mulch. And maybe that needs topping up again. Although it's a reasonable thickness, so that's not bad. Coming into summer, I'd be checking the watering system. There's probably a watering system here. I'll be checking that to make sure it's working properly.
Yep.
Yeah, there's always something to be done.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Privileged.
you talk about trust. I've got about 25 clients that give me keys to their properties.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Says a lot.
even so much that when they're away as well, look after their place when they're away.
Yep.
Put out their bins, that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's absolutely trust, because what trade do you know that you will say, come when I'm not home? You know?
Yeah, none, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a key to my back gate. Or you're coming tomorrow, I'll leave it unlocked for you, that sort of thing. Yeah. So yeah.
That's something
You've got to earn it.
Yeah, you've earned the
Oh,
trust,
yeah,
exactly
yeah,
right.
yeah,
The clients
yeah,
and all the good work you're doing for them and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
bloke that I thought, nah, just we won't warm. We now talk about cricket, sport. You know, he's really nice guy. So you can change, what your perception of what people see of you. But it's how much you want to do it. Some people, I'm happy just to mow their lawn, get in, get out. Others, I'm happy to spend, and I know it's time is money, but I'm happy to spend 10, 15 minutes chatting to a client, even though I know that it's going to slow me down potentially for 40 minutes in that day. But that client just might go, trust Matt to come back and do this or whatever.
Now grab a picture of Des's little socks there. I don't know, a little detail, but my people, what are they called?
Gaiters.
Gaiters, right. Obviously to keep everything out on your shoes when you're doing your thing. Yeah.
I try and brush up on my turf knowledge as much as I can, as well as the garden knowledge, because there's good dollars in it.
Yeah. Good
dollars in being able to go to say someone, if you want your lawn looking good, let's weed spray. It's coming into the right season. Sort of thing. So,
Turf is probably core to what we do. So we should all be experts at turf.
Yeah.
How did you find the training when you come down? So obviously do your 3-day generic and then you do the extra 3 days for the mowing.
If Jim keeps his emails, you will see an email after the training. Now, I've done a lot of training in my career as a copper, and I walked away and sent an email to Des, who sent it to Jim, saying that I thought that was one of the most beneficial training weeks that I've been to. I got offered a job within the government as an investigator whilst I was at the training day. I got a phone call saying, congratulations, you've been shortlisted. This is when I left the police force, so I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I applied for this job as an investigator within a government agency. And when I was at the training, I got a phone call saying, congratulations, Matthew, you've been shortlisted to the selection panel for an interview, and we'd like you to come along on whatever date it was. And I said, oh, okay, yep. And I went home and spoke to the wife, and I said, this has happened. And she said, oh, okay, well, what do you want to do? I said, actually, I don't want to go back to that field. I want to do this business.
That's a pretty good, tough thing to say, obviously, because that's a stable employment.
Yeah.
Something you sort of know, but you'll obviously. What day were you in the training when you sort of got that call?
I reckon it was the Wednesday.
Oh, okay, right in the middle.
Yeah. So I went home and I emailed that night, and it just so happened the guy that rang me was an ex-copper, so we had a really good chat. And then I emailed him and just said, look, I'll give you a call tomorrow. And then I rang him back and said, look, I didn't tell him what I was doing. I just said it's not the right time for me. He understood that, and he goes, just so you know, the job was yours.
Yep.
And I went, okay. So,
rub it in.
Yeah. But no looking back, no regrets. So the training was great, but what was really satisfying to hear and knew that I'd made the right decision was that so many people had come from so many varying industries, but all shared the same story. I was just sick of doing what I was doing, and I wanted to work for myself. And the more I looked into gyms, this is me and everybody speaking, the more I knew it was the right decision.
Probably fair to say that mowing franchisors would meet up with their guys in the field to help them with quotes or do any issues.
So you want to talk about that? Yeah. So you go and you see your blokes regularly and do like a curbside or almost just sort of check up and see how they're going on.
More on request.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, the guys network such a lot, like Matt was saying, that they get to the point where they self-help, they look after each other.
Yep.
I'm certainly available if I need to, and some of them use me extensively for helping with quoting, and that's fine.
I was just saying how much he obviously does 10 hours a week, and what he gets to that was really good to hear. But how did you, obviously getting your route optimised, how do you find saying no to people? Because a lot of franchisees might have trouble saying no, or they might have trouble increasing their rates, but how do you find optimising your business? How do you go about that?
Well, for the first year, I didn't say no because I wanted to build. And then sometimes saying yes is more of a hindrance than saying no, because you find that you've spent too much time at a job, or you've underquoted a job, and it can I think at the end of the day, you've got to know your limitations. So I have said, no, I don't do that. It's not what I do. Rather than say yes and then walk away and spend, which has happened to a Duncan, you know, a bloke who did the course, and another one of the franchisees under Des. He said yes to a job, and it has turned out to be, he's had to say subsequently no, because it was bigger than what it was going to be. So in terms of optimising, well, you've seen the route we took today. Okay, we started in Cheltenham, but we're going to finish literally 2 minutes from my house. So we've come this way, and we've probably spent a total driving time, I reckon, of no more than 40 minutes, I would have thought, between jobs. So we've done, what, 8 jobs today. We're about to hit our 9th job. Yes, I've had Des with me helping, so that's, you know, obviously sped up. But I would have started a bit earlier. We've spoken in between,
sure.
and it's probably not even 1 o'clock yet. So, as I said to you, my first year, I was lucky to do 9, 10 jobs a day. I'd be comfortable now smashing out 17, 18 jobs by myself.
Wow.
But, granted, you're going to be emptying the catcher a lot more because the grass is thicker, it's growing more, you know, that sort of thing. But I'm at a stage where I know that I can go out and do 18 jobs. Still feel tired, but knowing that I've worked out the best group of clients to do together.
So let's have a chat to Des outside of it, but we see it quite often when they go, the one thing they say is, you know, the quoting is always the thing where they're not.
But you can't teach anybody to quote, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because what I charge, some bloke over in the other side of the town in the western suburbs might not be able to get away with because of the demographic of the area. So I think I think Ben gave an example of quoting. It's hourly rate plus time plus expenses is your quote. That's all well and good, but for some people, you know, I still underquote. And you know, this is the thing, you know when you get to a job and you're 10 minutes into it, whether you've quoted well or not. Because you can say, geez, this is going to take me longer than I thought. I've lost out on that. Or on the other side of the coin, you go, geez, this took a lot shorter than I thought.
So you think sometimes it evens itself out?
Oh, it swings around about 100%.
Right. So you were saying before you don't know if you couldn't, you don't think you could have done it as an independent person, which was quite interesting because you're obviously very personable and you've got a big network.
Yeah, but I there's just no way. Who would I ring to say, I've stuffed this up, or what equipment do I buy? You know, where do you recommend I get it serviced, or where am I starting with 60 clients? You know, if you need that income coming in straight away, there's no way I could just put a trailer on behind a car and call it Matt's Mowing and hope for the best. You just, you know, and then I've got to pay for advertising. I've got to get a website up.
How do you think it would have gone with all the digital stuff, for example?
Nah, there's no way. No way. I've got to say, Des, this is probably one of the lawns I enjoy most. Yeah. And I'll tell you why, because it is simple up and down, and I just zone out. Yeah. And I'm in my own area and I just go up, down, up, down, up, down, and then I get in the car and go. So, and it's close to home.
Yes.
So when I do it, I know I'm almost knocking off.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Yeah. Hello, mate. There's a dog, don't let it out. So all this courtyard, which is, there's not much here, to be honest, but this was full of weeds just 2 weeks ago. So we weeded it all, did the Maria, and then behind you, Des, it all goes down the side as well. So we did all this. So it's probably 3 times a year. It's a decent, like, it took 2 of us, 1.5 days.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Big,
must have been a big mess.
because all the leaves and weeds.
I was saying to
You
boys.
can do the slipper if you want.
Oh, gee
No,
whiz.
that's impossible. That's
No,
really
no.
hard. I just need the footage of it.
No. I don't want to. No, I'm not stuffing it up. No. I've got no idea. Fair dinkum.
No, it's
On the trigger,
Yep.
like that, and I just guide it along like that.
Okay.
So hold it like that.
Yep. Nah. No. I'm just watching him laughing at me. No. That's a disgrace. That's a disgrace. I have to bloody give him a discount or something. Let the pros do it. That's why you use a pro. That's why you get an expert to do it.
Press in.
Press in. Yep. and forward, just like that. Oh, sorry? Okay. Alright, sorry.
Now that one.
I get you. Sorry. Whoa. Jesus.
Only just starting to get into my own maintenance.
Okay.
I just paid a hefty amount yesterday to get everything service sharpened before leading into spring. But someone pointed out a good thing to me, that if you're only paying that once a year, then that's a very small percentage of your, say, your turnover or an expense. You know, not even 1%, or whatever it might work out to be, to make sure that you've got your equipment in good working order. But what I am going to do is, now that I know it's been done, and it was done yesterday, or it was done on the weekend, let's say, I've set up a calendar at home, just my Outlook calendar, and I know that in spring, summer, probably every, what do you reckon, Des, 4 to 6 weeks, you probably need to change the oil in your mower in that sort of time. So I've set a little reminder to do that. So I will change the oil, I will change the blades, I will blow out the air filter. So what I've got at home is spare air filters, a air compressor, oil, blades, so spark plugs. So I'll do all that myself. If you can save yourself time and money from going to the mower shop and only rely on the mower shop to get a repair if you need it, then you're saving yourself dollars.
That's great.
So trailer's just on 12 months old, or just over 12 months old.
This is from Bayswater Custom.
Yeah, yep. And I have just had it serviced there. I know that now, leading into spring, summer, that the trailer's in good working order. Bearings are done, tyres are right, brakes are right, all that sort of stuff. But every two to 3 months, I will what they call greasing up your nipples.
Yep.
So when I got told I had to do that, yeah, try Googling that and see what comes up.
I actually used to work at a bluestone quarry, and obviously they had diamond sting blades, and you actually grease up the nipples all the time. So I'm very familiar with it, and with the jelly and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so I've got a grease cartridge gun at home.
Yep, great, put it in there.
Yeah,
yep.
Just do it all. You know, as I said to you before earlier, just learning how to change the oil at a mower, there is something satisfying with just knowing that you've done it, and that you know you're going to be right for the rest of the week, month, whatever.
Hey guys, so thank you very much for watching this, and thank you very much to Matt Thorpe. Appreciate your honesty and all the advice and you've given to us, and you're 18 months into your gym's business, and it'd be great to see you in another year or two and to see where you're at and how you're tracking along.
Yeah, with any luck, I'll have somebody else working for me and another 50 clients, but we'll see.
Yeah, so looking forward to it. But thank you for that. And if Jim's Mowing, we're coming up, hopefully this content's released just before spring. So as Matt was saying before, if you do want a Jim's Mowing guy in spring, don't ring up in spring. Get him in, you know, let's say now for something. And yeah.
Get in early, because worst thing you can do is leave it to the last minute.
So 131546, there's Jim's Mowing website as well. Just punch into Google with various locations and web pages in your area, and obviously Facebook. Give the Jim's Mowing Facebook and Jim's Group Facebook a follow, and our Instagram and our Twitter as well. But once again, Matt, appreciate you very much for doing this.
It's
really great, insightful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers.